Yeah, we're getting there. A couple of days, arrived on Tuesday, so yeah, just settling in now. It's been nice actually. Similar to last year, managed to get here sort of a week or so before. Just gives you a chance to settle down, which is nice, get a feel for it, see some of the lads, and excited, yeah. Well, it feels a bit like, I suppose, it feels a bit like you're coming home in some ways, because you've got loads of people you want to see, including you, Maisie. So there's loads of people you want to see, because you haven't seen them for a while. And the first time I came in, I didn't know anybody, really. I was made so welcome. We had a great time. I think it was a frustration that we didn't get over the line and get to the latter stages of it, because we'd started slow, and then we had this really good patch on the road. And then we had this sort of incident with Sam Harper, which was really unfortunate. Threw us a bit off, and we didn't get over the line. So coming back here, it's a mixture of great to see a lot of people I haven't seen for a while. Excitement of, I think we can do better than we did last year and get to that latter stages. And a bit of that nice bit of excitement come nerves when you know the competition's coming up. It's a nice feeling. I think, like always with something like the Big Bash, there's so much work goes on behind it in the build-up, and I think that's the bit people don't see. So that conversations, talking, strategies, finding players or whatever, it's an ongoing process. By the time you get closer to the tournament, I think everybody's sort of relieved we're going to get to the time we're going to play, which is the exciting part. It's, to me, all the way through the year, there's felt like, I think everybody at the Stars knows we've got work to do. We've got to get better. We started that process last year. We want to build on it this year. We made a few exciting signings, I think, and we've got to play. We know the style of cricket we want to play. Now we're going to get a chance to try and put that onto the field. Yeah, well, I suppose firstly, in some ways on Maxi, just to say, I'd Maxi my first year. Well done for Maxi and what he's committed to the Stars over the time. Did a great job, and was brought all the passion and energy you want to see from a player. And I think the crowd always spot that. What we'll get from Marcus is a slightly different captain, I think, which is nice. He'll bring his own style into it. I've spent quite a lot of time talking to him about what he wants and how he wants to do it, because the captain's such a big player in any cricket team. He seems really clear. He wants, I think, with that group, to use the group well, that the group themselves get involved and in lead themselves in a way. I mean, this whole idea that everybody steps up and works together to try and make sure we get where we want to get to. I think Marcus is excited about the challenge. He hasn't captained before the Stars, so it's new for him, it's fresh. I think it'll help bring the best out of him, so I'm excited for him. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because he texted me after it and said, that was one of the most fun he's had in a game for a long time, which was a really interesting comment because it was a tough game. We played Perth, we got absolutely hammered. But what was nice about it, I thought in the build-up, he really involved everybody. And Maxi was injured, so it was always a strange one when you're stepping in and the current captain who's injured is there. You've got to find quite a nice balance, and I thought he found the right balance. When we played the game, we just didn't get enough runs. But when we went to field, what I really liked was we didn't lie down. We really went at them. We chucked ourselves around. We were going to get beaten, yes, but we didn't sit back. We had a go. And I think if that's something, hopefully, that comes across in Marcus' captain, that the teams he captains are going to be teams that have a go and are up for the challenge of it, that's a great trait for any team to have. Three very different cricketers, really. I mean, certainly on Ben Duckett, I know Ben well because obviously I've coached him at Notts. And he's one of those players that has always had this huge amount of talent. It's over the last probably 3 to 4 years, he's really started to find how to get that talent out of himself. I think the one thing I would say with most players, coaches don't give players talent or really give them that much information always. You help them get it out of themselves. That's what happens. Ben's found a way of getting it out of himself. He's now done that on the international stage. He's played in the Big Bash before, played for the Heat and did really well. So he comes with a lot of experience now, and he's ready to play, I think. And I really enjoy the way he plays because he's got a style of play that fits sort of all formats, really. Doesn't change. Works on the basis of trying to put the opposition under pressure. So you'll see him as a left-hander, which again I think suits our batting list. So I think he'll be really exciting. I think the fans will love watching him play. I think he'll enjoy playing over here. And I've spoke to him again quite a lot. He's excited about being here, which is fantastic. If we move on, Usama. We saw Usama last year, and I think Usama probably really arrived last year at the SCG. I think up till then, I don't know if we'd use him exactly as we wanted to, because of the way the game's maybe permed or whatever. But that game, he came on straight after power play, got early wickets, influenced the game, big tall leg spin, it creates bounce, awkward to get away. And a lot of things in 2020 cricket, if you can create dot balls, i.e. the ball doesn't go for any runs, then you create pressure. And that's Usama. He has this ability to make the ball bounce at the batter, make it hard work to get him away, forcing a big shot. So I think, hopefully with a bit of luck, he might not be here right at the start, which is one of those things with the international schedules we get at the moment. When we get him over here, he can start to reproduce some of that form, but we'll manage to get him here for longer than we did last year to influence those games. And then obviously in Tom Curran, he's a year-on-year guy who's played Big Bash. What I love about Tom is the way he plays his cricket. Absolutely competitive animal, bat, bowl, field. He's giving you everything he's got. He really is. And he plays moments, he plays situations. So we have lots of sort of players in the game now, and you sort of have some players who don't quite get it right. I think they become technical players rather than games players. And coaches love games players. People who sense the game, move with the game. There's a window then to be aggressive and they take it. They're normally very brave players. I think Tom's like that. I think Tom sees that. Bat or ball, if there's a chance and a window to go for something, you take it. And that's a good trait to have, certainly in overseas players, because we certainly got other players like that. Batters, people like Max, he's looking to always impact the game. Stoinis himself. But the more players that want to impact the game, the more chance you have of impacting the game, and that's what 2020 is all about. Well, I think Joe coming back is a really nice fit. Played 2 years, got the Player of the Year 2 years in a row. I think because Joe, one, he plays really well. Got the Stars off to very good starts when he played. Aggressive player, but also is a really good team man. I think he fitted the style of the team. The lads got a lot of energy off him, so I'm really looking forward to Joe coming back in. He's so excited about coming back in and putting a Stars shirt on again, which is great because I think we'll get the best version of him. And in Adam, as a replacement for Usama at those first games, we get a seamer who is really one of the top flight T20 bowlers around the world now. Swings the ball up front, wicket taker and power play, good skills for the end of the game, for the death, and power surge. So I think with Adam, we really strengthen our seam bowling attack, certainly for those first few games. And that's probably not a bad time to have it when we think the pitches will be fresher. We play on certain venues like the Optus and stuff like that, where we know seam can have quite a decent influence. So we're excited to get him, and I think it makes our seam attack look a little bit more potent in the first part of the game. Yeah, the depth's important because I think year on year you see injuries, and that's a part of with the schedules people play. They play Shield cricket right up to when we start the Blast, so there's always a chance of injuries. So you need good depth. So our depth's getting better. I think what happens as well is that people on our list have started to mature as players. So we're seeing some of that in how they're playing red ball cricket. We need them to transfer it. Someone like Bo Webster, for instance, last year got really good exposure for us batting at 3, would have learned quite a lot from that experience with a chance to move on. His whole cricket has got better and better, resulting in him being in a test match squad for Australia in his performance. So people like Bo, Tommy Rogers has now been around it for quite a long time. People like Sam Harper, who moved across from Renegades, now back with the Stars. All those sort of players, you're expecting more because they're getting better players, full stop, and they're getting a bit more mature. And we know with cricket, the way it sort of works is often when you get to around that mid-20s age, you start to understand the game, the different formats you do, because it is difficult now with playing red and white ball cricket, the very different formats, balancing that out. And I think when you've been around for a bit longer, someone like, Campbell Kellaway, who's now been around it for a bit longer, it gives them more chance that when they do get their opportunity to play, that they can make an impact on the game. Physically, the batting coach has got the hardest gig, I'll tell you that, because he flicks in the net and he puts all this graft where the bowling coach just chills out and talks. So no, listen, I think what you get with it, so Clint, who does the bowlers, before a game, you see the work that Clint does with the captain and with the bowlers and the analysis of planning and how the game might pan out beforehand. And that'll be either in a hotel room somewhere, it can be here at the ground before the start of a game, where all that planning goes in, and it's a real skill to do that planning in a way that basically doesn't confuse a player, that keeps it really simple, but starts to give him a little bit of insight in what he's up against. And analysis is a funny one. We're always trying to get this balance where most of it we're talking about us and our strengths and only a little bit on the opposition, but you need to know enough about where some of those batters are going to go because it's going to help you as a bowler. So that's Clint's build-up. Benny's build-up is a mixture of, one, we need to get the order right. How do we perm the best out of our attack? Because we've got some real interesting choices. We've got such a versatile batting lineup. We can be flexible. What we do know is players like to get roles in the team that they know how to play them and they fit them naturally. So that's part of it. The rest is really, especially on match days and building up, players like volume now. They want to hit balls, and that physically is demanding. So Benny he's brilliant, if I'm honest. He's in the net with them. It's a helmet on job. The way they hit a ball now, it's brutal. And it's, I keep imagining at some point batting coaches are going to end up in a bar somewhere and can twitch it away and can surviving a multitude of nets and whatever. But so they're both different jobs, crucial jobs within the setup.